This is the Manufacturing Automation Podcast. I'm Michael.
And I'm Matt. In this podcast, we're going to discuss growing companies, automation and manufacturing,
and how we're building the lives and businesses we want to see in the world.
Back on the map with Matt and Michael. Michael with Gimbal Automation, Matt with Develop LLC. We're both in the automation realm, building businesses, small business owners. So we talk about some of the trials and tribulations, if you will. We broke it down into several topics: general feelings of the week, sales and marketing, engineering and R&D, company-wide updates and improvements. And we usually talk about something personal at the end to get you to know a little bit more about Matt and Michael. And sometimes that turns into a challenge. The other person on the call challenges too.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I guess I can kick us off.
Sounds good.
Feelings of the week. I guess generally a little hectic. We're definitely still catching up. We have like 3 open job positions, so it's been lots of interviewing, and we honed in our interview process. I think the big thing that's been my theme of the week is learning to delegate and let go, and to bring that to more things. I've kind of historically been good at letting go of a certain thing, but still maybe too involved. And I'm starting to also bring that to, bringing in outside vendors and being okay being more dependent on them. So like an example, I think I talked about it maybe last week and maybe the week before, but we've been having issues with our water jet. A long time ago when the business first started, I ran the water jet. I knew every little thing about it. I tried to jump in and fix it just like I did then when, we had 2 people. As you might figure, I knew basically nothing at this point, years and years later. And being okay, just, making some phone calls, using my network, finding some people who could help, went worlds farther than banging my head against the wall. So I'm just trying to continue to push that direction of, okay, let's get really good people on the team who can do the things that I don't like. And I guess there's kind of a whole other thing I've been thinking about this week, which is, we were so busy in September, we had kind of record-breaking order volume. One thing that I've been thinking about is, okay, let's, our lead times are going to get a little bit longer. I don't want to let quality slip. I'm going to intentionally take, fewer orders and push less hard on the sales front, while we try to catch up from that backlog. But I think the biggest thing, I've had a little bit of drama from a couple of customers, and we have a lot of customers, right? So, but it's one of those squeaky wheel gets the grease kind of things.
The one that screams the loudest.
Yeah. And it just has really put it in perspective of people not following their word or being unreasonable. And it put it into perspective, especially with September, like, hey, we have such a high order volume. I got to learn how to be more selective. And I've been practicing being more assertive when people are extremely unreasonable. And there's been a level of delegation of getting me out of the way of being the person to directly interact with that unreasonable customer. We wrote reciprocity into our core values, kind of in the vein of I'll move mountains for a customer who does what they say they will. But, when you have that one customer who doesn't pay or screams at you on the phone for the machine they crashed, running a system completely out of spec and, not following the maintenance procedures, I'm not going to move mountains for you anymore. Right. So, and I think that's just me maturing, letting go, and also, being okay, because sometimes people are unreasonable and no matter what you do, they're not going to be happy. And I know that sounds kind of negative, but for me, it's been a huge boost to my own mindset, just because I know how good of integrity and how excellent our customer service is. And just having the self-confidence to say, no, we did exactly, we went above and beyond. And once we've done that and then people are still terrible, that's really made me see, hey, if I've got more demand and our lead times are getting longer, let's just be more selective upfront.
I think that's a fair way to look at it. I mean, sometimes customers are paid to
Yep.
get the most out of us as a supplier. So I don't think
Yeah.
you're
Well,
out of line.
it depends what it is and the context. And like one thing I learned, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago is like if you have a buyer or a purchasing agent of a big corporation, I think I mentioned this before, like their entire job is to push you around and use you as a bank, right? And like, you have to kind of hold your ground and be assertive and be like, no, these are the payment terms we agreed on. You're not going to push us out to next 60 when you were on 30. And, but that's a different type of customer than maybe a mid or really small customer where, they might have different kind of crazy things that they would do. But all this is to say, I know I'm like a little focused on the negative, but I guess it's because I'm focused on eliminating it. And because 99% of the time, almost all of our orders go through without a hitch. Almost everybody loves our products. And anytime there is a problem, we immediately fix it, right?
Yeah, it's always the edge case, just like you said, the squeaky wheel. You end up giving the attention where it's not deserved. And if you just like, you move down and give it to the other clients that really deserve it, it's a lot better day.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you?
It was a packed week. So we were on the road to MD&M.
Yep.
We left Sunday afternoon, got back late Wednesday night. Sorry, we were supposed to get back Thursday. We decided to pack everything up and just head out. Which was the right call. We ended up being back at the office then Thursday morning.
Oh, cool. I mean, that's maybe not great, but
I liked it personally. Got a lot more done around the office. There were some things that needed to be taken care of, so worked out well in that essence. It's just been very packed. I haven't got my emails out from the show like I like to. The tool that we built, this AI tool, thankfully we viewed MD&M as the test case for it. Yep. Everything broke. Like, we had tested preliminary, but there's no better way to test something than in the actual application of post show. And it was just, we found a lot, bugs are the wrong word, just workflow challenges with it. And so we now are spinning those yesterday, today, Sunday, Monday, and then we will be at the show on Tuesday. So we'll be driving down there Sunday, and we'll use some of that night to get ready because we're setting up on Monday, which will only take a couple hours. Ideally, we'll see how it goes. Should be good. And then using some of that time to button up the tool. But it's nothing major. It's just like, it was the time we thought we would save. We definitely lost multiple folds. But that's product development. So we're working through it.
So just show catch up mostly. Hectic.
Oh, that's exactly. Yeah, it's probably the general feelings, just like a little tired, if you will, even though I got plenty of sleep at the show. But yeah.
Trade shows they'll pull it out of you.
Oh yeah. So that's it. And then a day of meetings today.
Well, I gotta
follow up.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were.
No, you're good. Go for it.
Here's a question. We signed up for MD&M West, and we have this initiative to do more trade shows. I think it's a very smart thing to do. They clearly ROI for us. We're investing more in building the trade show stuff. Now, when I looked at the floor plan of MD&M, I was like, ooh, like, is this a show we should be at, right? Because it's like, I'm not seeing our competitors, Shunk and Vectech and even some of the companies we distribute for, like, Fifth Axis. Fifth Axis goes to like every show, and they're not there. And I'm like, is this a waste of time for us? Like, are there going to be customers there who are running production parts on CNC machines?
Is that a direct question? Because I can answer it.
Yeah. I'm asking you.
I think it would be a waste of your dollars to go to MD&M.
So already paid for it, $6,000 or whatever. Should we just not go?
Ooh, how much more does it cost to go?
Well, it's probably going to be $3,000. But I mean, the biggest thing is the opportunity cost of going.
Maybe I walk you through the attendees.
Yeah,
rather than trying to answer this question. So we went there. The attendees, there's some manufacturing people there, some assembly people there from our experience. Now, to be clear, MD&M Midwest in Minnesota is 5,000 attendees. California is 15,000.
Yep.
I'd also assume you have a much larger med tech sector in California than here. But either way, a lot of the people that were there didn't seem to understand a whole lot about like
Sure.
what kind of manufacturing and automation looked like.
Yeah.
Was a lot of it. There's some great leads that came out of it. It was a little bit of a slow show, but definitely not machining heavy, if that's your question.
Yeah.
We were one of a couple integrators there. We had the largest robot there by a landslide
Wow.
with a
Okay.
CRX-25.
Yep.
Like, it was crazy.
Yeah, it feels like, sunk cost fallacy. It's like, okay, maybe it's just okay, we can admit the mistake and say, okay, this is the learning curve, and it sucks. Like, even at this small scale, like
When is it?
February,
Can you sell me your booth at an extreme discount?
probably. If you
Because
show up
I was tempted
yeah.
to. What size of booth do you have? Is it a
It's
corner?
only 10 by 10. Yeah.
Okay, probably wouldn't take it. Because we're tempted to not go to it. We were using this one as a bit of a trial, and I'm going, well, we have it expensed into this one, knowing that Anaheim's probably going to be like 3 times the cost for us to do versus such a local show. I'm going, I think we're better off to spend the dollars in other areas.
But that's a good idea. I think they'd have to go under our name, but I know people go all the time to shows, and they'll have 3 or 4 companies in a booth. I have some people who are local I can reach out to, so it's not a total loss, right?
They have I don't know what your contract said, but typically there's extra costs if you're going to show multiple companies in one booth.
Yeah.
It's a risk you could take too.
I'm like, okay, forgiveness, not permission. Give me, like you said, roll the stuff in through the front and let them give you a fine.
Yeah.
And yeah, but we'll definitely look through the contract, and that's I'm gonna reach out to a couple people, see if they're interested, because yeah, I mean, I think that should probably be the litmus test, is like, are our competitors there? Are there pallet loading system companies? Are there work holding companies? Yeah.
I don't know. It wasn't I don't think I would do MD&M in Minnesota again.
Yeah.
Actually, I shouldn't say I think. Unless there's some screaming couple of deals that come out of it, because we had 98 scans for the entire show. For context, we typically get like 400 scans at other like hot shows that we go to. So 25%, and there wasn't like any that when I was getting home, like, man, these are some really hot leads that I'm excited about.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, we'll look into it in more detail, but I'm glad for the advice there.
Yeah, take it as you see.
Do you have any other sales and marketing?
Yeah, I would say that's a great segue. We're already in sales and marketing. Mine is follow up with the leads that I scanned and get that done. I'm definitely behind on that. I usually like to have it done by now, so that's frustrating to me.
Yep.
Other than that, there's been other than just standard RFQs and moving stuff through, and there's a joke the team said the other day that I kind of like it, and I kind of want to make it actually into a thing. Here is, it seems like when customers spend, say, $500,000 to a couple $1 million on a piece of automation equipment, there's usually like this cold feet that comes with it, like a day or two later, or like you always get that like call or something. And one of the guys in the at the sales meeting this week's like, man, we should just mail them a box of boots every time they spend a bunch of money with us and say, don't get cold feet on us now, or something like that. Or now is not the time to get cold feet. And I'm like, yeah, that's actually kind of cool, but I think we should do it with socks, because I think you can send three sizes and see which one they actually fit into. But it's like, I think that would be comical, like, because there's always like that little bit of like, you can feel it, like they're still excited, but there's just that little bit of cold, did I make the right decision? Buyer's remorse, if you will. But it's always interesting, because we see that quite frequently.
Yeah, I mean, on the sales and marketing front too, I see the same thing. And it's like, if there's, we lost a hot deal that I think if I was just faster and we were on top of quotes and we weren't overwhelmed, it would have gone through right away. They would have just paid the deposit and moved on. And the thing is, all of our stuff ROI is so fast. the challenge is just getting someone to pay the thing, pay the deposit, wait the 4 weeks, get it installed, and then, assuming they actually put in the 3-4 hours of effort to install it and set it up, like pretty much everyone is happy, right? And but the issue is getting to that point. And definitely I've had the same thing where the hesitation pops up like a day or two after, and then you get a phone call.
Yeah. I've actually found you can get sales too quick too. And that's where some of the cold feet's coming from this week. We had, we're light in our actually build phase because we had done like so much efficiency and lean on our floor, because one of the initiatives for us is how do we turn a machine every month is the goal, as in one's leaving the floor every month. So 12 machines in a year.
Yep.
We have a problem. Our floor isn't big enough to support that unless we increase the velocity of our projects. So over the last 12 months, we've been really honing in on the velocity of our projects. And then we ended up with some of our technicians that build machines and then machine stuff being light on that side of the business. So they flexed into CIs and doing other things, but had a client come in that a little bit out of the norm needed machines built and then reverse engineered because they've been building them internally for a period of time.
Yep.
We spun the quote, like literally went within there, was on the site visit, went back and then like this was all within like a course of a week. Site visit, initial quote, revision of quote, met with management, all within like a week. They signed the contract and moved everything forward. And then today it was a meeting to go back through stuff because now they're unsure of how this is going to work because XYZ, but it's like, we actually moved too quick in that instance, just because it was like, we had the availability, we can do XYZ, we can give you really good pricing on this. We just have to move quickly because I have another project that's going to be taking that time in the future.
Can I give you my take on this?
Go for it.
I don't think there's such a thing as moving too quickly. Like, there's such a thing as moving too quickly, say if you can't do the work. But if the process is good, if the actual business execution is there, to me it's make the sale and then do what you say you were going to do. And
well, that's exactly. So we did that portion of it. I believe somebody didn't have approval and that was what happened, but I'm not positive. That's an assumption, so I can't state that as facts. And I think that's a portion of the pain. So now we're going back in and buttoning up paperwork before we technically like, it's a funny deal.
Yeah, I guess part of it too, it's like, you're either putting the work on it, ahead of having signed on the dotted line or deposit paid, or after. To me, it feels much better to put in additional effort, or delegate that effort to the team on a job that's been won, as opposed to a potential job, right?
Oh, exactly. Yeah, the contract signed, like work is getting done. There's a min payment owed, like. There's a lot that can be done there. So yeah,
I guess the reason I pushed back is like because like velocity, like I have that deal. I'm like, I know we would have won this deal and executed perfectly, and we were just too slow, right? And then priorities change, something comes up, someone gets a big PO and they don't have time to automate the machine. The reality though is like the stuff ROIs, it works well. The customer probably is going to come back at some point, but still, like, that's, I would like to have started building that relationship sooner. I would love.
I get it. I mean, what's interesting is this is a project we quoted with this particular now customer 3 years ago. Another project ended up not getting that one. That project went completely sideways. Integrators no longer supplying for them.
When your competitor did it, right?
This is a different project, but there's a pile of automation.
The original one that went sideways was a competitor.
Correct. Yeah. And so then we come in on this other project, and that's just kind of the interesting ball of wax. There is like, we came in later. So technically it's like 3.5 years to close this potential customer, but it was like 1 week once we actually started talking about this project. It's like, good grief. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just think the mindset of velocity in sales, I think that's everything. It just increases your. I just don't think you move too fast, and I think like if I could execute the way I always like I want to, it'd be the same thing of initial deal to proposal to close in a week, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's over $500,000
Yeah.
and less than
Yep.
a week was put together. Like that's just how tight our processes for bidding machines are now.
Yeah. What
It's
else
kind
do you
of
have
a
on?
fun. It's kind of a fun problem.
Yeah. What else do you have on the sales and marketing front?
Nothing too crazy. I mean, we're at trade shows. We're going to Eats next week. I'm excited to see how that goes with our new AI sales tool as well layered in there. Should be fun.
Is there a way that you can pare that down of just turn on the plot or whatever a fresh time, every time you have a prospect, something to make it a little bit, I don't know, easier and scope the project down to start in a smaller chunk?
So yes, that's been a portion of it. The plod's like the cherry on there. There was
Yeah.
other things that were layering into AI that just broke as well.
Gotcha.
So the plod that was transcriptions was a portion of it, trying to get all that allocated to the right lead. That was one of the largest pains, but that's now been fixing that portion of the workflow is lowest on the priority, and it's been clarified to the team that if that doesn't work for the next show, it will be acceptable, but everything else has to work.
Yep. Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
So, a good question though, because it's definitely one of those where mission creep occurred, scope got a little bit larger than it probably should have, and I kind of blame myself for not cutting some stuff a little bit sooner.
Yeah. Scope it down, fail cheap, fail fast.
Exactly. Yep.
All the cliches.
Yes. What about you?
Yeah, for us, sales and marketing, I've talked about it a lot, but kind of that sine or cosine wave that my business has tended to go through, because I'll get really focused in sales, and then we'll sell a little too much, and then I get pulled into executing and back and forth, right? And with that, I've really tried to focus on that problem. How can we smooth things out? Part of that has been just trying to work on the business, not in the business, continuing to try to delegate more of the actual quoting. And we're trying to get like an admin person. So, to make those little process improvements, to do quoting right now, like Priscilla's handling all the quotes and I'm just doing like the initial scope out. So I'm trying to get more efficient, but like sales and marketing, one of the big things that we rolled out, and this is like half engineering, or we're starting to roll out, on like some of our projects. If you go to our website, like say the 75 millimeter pneumatic vise, we have a 3D viewer. I can actually share it for anybody who's watching your screen, entire screen right there. So we got a little Fusion embed that shows like some of our physical products, because people just would not find the little step. This used to be bigger, and I think I kind of realized like, okay, we have a technical customer base. People who are on this page have buying intent. Like, let's make it easy. A lot of them are using Fusion for CAM. Just putting that like direct integration in across, some of the different products
That's
on
really
our website.
cool. I like that. Are you going to now go to the modular style where they can configure in the screen?
Well, yeah, that's a whole can of worms. So like, we looked at these services and wanted to do this a while back that do this. There's a whole bunch of them, but
So
you're
is
looking
this
at
directly through Fusion then, or how is this actually hosted?
Yeah, so you're looking at like $3,000 or $4,000 a month for these like industrial tools, and
Yes.
this is one that it seems like nobody knows about. If you go and you just have a paid Fusion account, there's like you go into your Autodesk Manager, there's a share, and it just generates an embed. So, like, such an easy, low-hanging fruit way to put this information on.
That's great.
Yeah, it's awesome. Now, one thing that we've also been really focused on is email capture. We have the little sign up and save 5%. Sign up for the newsletter, 5% on pretty much anything other than the intro load. And with that, the one thing, like if I were to go and download, there's a download button somewhere in here. If I download this model through Fusion, I'd have to see how to do it.
You can do it for the intro load. I'm assuming you just want to cap it. Sorry to cut off that conversation. You could go 5% or up to X.
I'd have to look at the fine print of what we did, but there's some sort of cap on there.
Yeah.
But regardless, the thing is when you download through this and not through our little link, Autodesk is collecting the customer email address, right? So it actually emails them the information. And I was like, okay, first, that's really clever. What a great, smart thing for Autodesk to do with this little Fusion embed. But I want to collect the email address. So it's a lot more work, but I'm working with the developer right now to basically do the same thing where the model gets emailed in any format, but we collect the email address, right? And that's been probably the most effective form of marketing for us is, we get someone on our email list, we get those touch points, and, it's not a huge percentage, but way better than pay-per-click or any other, or even organic SEO.
That's cool. I really like this.
So, we have something similar like on the intro load page where you can like rotate it around in a little 3D viewer.
Yeah, I've seen this. Yeah, I played with that a little bit.
But the difference with this is, it's like a hollow, kind of fake model. And I don't want customers to have this model, right? So, that's almost like an STL, whereas these are real solid files that the intent is like our customers are downloading them. They're putting them in Mastercam or Fusion.
They're not going to copy this and make it. And if they do, they're going to end up realizing they should have bought it anyway.
Yeah. and they're customer facing models. So, we have the various production models of every single rev. But I think that's a really good sales tool. And one thing, I'll stop sharing my screen now, that I'm really excited about is since we started making all these changes, changing the buttons to green, working on the formatting, working on SEO, our conversion rate has gone up 10x on the Shopify site.
Wow.
And like, it's still not a very big percentage of our revenue, but I've realized there's a lot of potential there. And it's more of a passive potential than the semi-turnkeys and the intro load. So kind of, while we're catching up, my goal is with those semi-turnkey and intro load customers, like we push the lead times out a little bit, and we try to do the same number. We're try to do 2 intro loads a month, try to do 4 to 6 semi-turnkeys, right? And the numbers vary. It could be above or below. But to not push there, which is where I was trying to grow the business, and instead to push on the e-commerce platform, because that is just scaling these, we already have the production parts. We already have the domestic vendors to manufacture it's way more scalable than the, productized service. A couple like little things. We're going to launch a free hat. So we're going to send everyone like a free hat with orders over $1,000.
Okay. Like the flat brim style, the new.
It's just a baseball cap with a big logo on it.
Got it. Yeah.
But people love a little surprise. So
yeah, I mean, that goes a long way. Like, you'll start seeing that stuff floating around at shows. People wear that stuff.
Yeah. So there's a lot that I'm excited about, but it's all a slow roll. Like, even the Fusion thing it's only rolled out to 3 or 4 products right now. We got to roll that out to like
80-20. You hit the ones that actually probably matter right now.
Yeah. I mean, we still like the grip, flip, grip modules. It's important. The grippers, the grubbers, but we'll get there.
Makes sense.
Cool.
Good deal.
That's all I got on sales and marketing.
And the only thing else, or the only other thing I have about marketing, if you go to I guess I could share my screen. So we now did, for the change on our website, we're now doing up to $25,000 credit towards any machine that we actually go in and scope, and they go through an automation assessment program so we can actually mitigate their risks, give them a roadmap, show them how they can best leverage automation to grow their companies. So that's kind of the big change, because this is kind of like the loss leader to our business, and we're just trying to make it so we can reduce as much of that friction to get people to go through this process versus the long, clunky way of we do our best to get you the best revision of a quote with the limited information that you can get. Like, it's just reduced back and forth. We just get people on site and we just do your work.
Yep.
So I'm excited for it. We'll see how this traction goes with it, though.
So go onto your website. I know I pushed you on this before, but
go for it.
And I know you hate our ugly green button. That kind of clashes with our brand colors. But after doing that, like, the percentage of people who click on the button or add stuff to the cart or checkout has increased enough. Maybe not green, but I would really encourage you like to add in maybe a third theme color that like you reserve for like only your call to actions. Just to differentiate those a lot, because like you have presumably like a color code for the brand's orange, but just adding in like a second accent color, I think could go a long way.
That's a fair point. We're actually going through right now building out a more of a design guide, because something that drives us nuts is our pages aren't going to really change much now. They're service pages. There's maybe going to be some SEO, or what do they call it? GEO or whatever it's called now.
Yep.
There'll be some changes for that, but our goal is, because if you go through our pages, there's some discrepancy based on what developer actually built it.
Yep.
And so getting them all to have a common brand language, that's something we could discuss during then, is how do we want to make sure that our call to actions, because there are even just different colors throughout the entire website that our call to actions are done. So even if it is just consistent, it's a good point. I don't know if I'm going to be going green, but maybe.
I mean, speaking of keeping it as the sales and marketing automation podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess one other thing that I've been working on is revisiting our ads, like our pay-per-click ads. The Facebook has been pulling back the amount of ads that it's displaying, mostly because we don't have enough ad creative and the audience we're targeting isn't broad enough.
Got it. Yeah.
So, that is coming along with actually not a decrease in web traffic, because we're making up for it in the newsletter, but it is a decrease in fresh leads. And that because of that, I now also have a focus on, okay, let's make some fresh ad creative. Let's, because like if I get the same ad 2 or 3 times, I'm clicking through it. And then you're
if I see an ad too many times, I just say irrelevant or stop showing me this, because I get sick of it.
Yeah. So making that fresh ad creative, a little bit of a focus on Facebook. We have an awesome like SEO guy who does Shopify specific SEO, and we have an awesome outsourced developer for Shopify. And I'm trying to find a firm or a freelancer, preferably, who can do that at a relatively low level of ad spend. Less than a couple grand a month in management. Huh?
Yeah. I'll say, if you find them, let me know.
Yeah. And it's tough because, you only want to pay a couple of grand if you're only, like, our marketing spend on actual like pay-per-click ads, it ranges from like 6 to, I think the peak, it was like 14 grand. Like, what percentage do you really want to be paying to manage and optimize those? And I don't know what the answer is there, but
yeah, it's a tough one. Like, ads have been such a hit or miss for us. I've ran ads and had like what appear to be like lucky wins, probably.
Yeah.
And then continued to run ads and not see any fruit. But like, I don't know, that's where, like, we're not running ads right now. We're reevaluating if we're going to be turning LinkedIn ads back on, how that's going to look, because it just isn't yielding for our business side.
Yeah, well, here's one thing too, though. Like, you mentioned kind of that, like, spinning of the roulette wheel with return on ad spend in the space. I have the same feeling. Like, if I look at our return on ad spend, especially on Google, it looks awful. You want to see like 200 to 300%. I think we see 135%. Now, the thing is, though, that it's not capturing those customers that are going and doing our like semi-turnkey services or an intro load. So
the people that click around and then buy from you months later.
Yeah. Well, and one thing too, like we added in these like attribution check tools, like, okay, here's the drop down. Where'd you hear about us? And I've had people put in like other, and they named a trade show that we literally never went to. And this has happened like 4 times, right? Like, oh, I saw you at trade show XYZ, which, we didn't go to. Like, I know what trade shows we've attended.
That's insane.
So, knowing like, hey, someone could have seen you on a Facebook ad, they remembered it, they looked for spindle grippers, the Google spindle grippers, they click on it, and then they get into your funnel. That Facebook ad was the attribution, but there's no link, right? And because of that too, like, I mean, with this very small overall volume of, actual projects, right? Obviously the projects are huge in scope for you, but the relatively small volume, to me, it seems like the only thing that you could do until you hit just an absurd level of scale is to see this as like a roulette machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair I guess I forgot that I ever even made that comment, but that
Yeah.
definitely sounds, because I love roulette. So that sounds
Oh,
that definitely sounds like something I
you
would
said
have
lucky
done.
wins, and I just gave it a gambling
Oh, okay.
analogy.
Oh, you're referring back to actually earlier in this pod. I see.
Yeah, yeah. Um, well, that's the whole thing too. Of I don't know if you've heard the phrase. Like, I know that 50% of my marketing works, but I don't know which 50%.
Oh, I know I've said that on the
Yeah.
podcast. Yeah. Yeah,
um,
it's more or less there's other things that are working for us. Like
yeah,
the SEO is starting to yield more fruit. Our website
yeah,
is yielding more fruit. And that's even though our ads are off.
right. Yeah,
So I'm going, okay. And they're yielding really good client potentials here. So that's why
yeah,
we continue to lean into that. The one that I've been wondering, because our costs are so high for our machines, what ends up happening is our clients need to get to know me so
yeah,
well throughout the sales process. We've almost been looking at, instead of running ads, because I guess I'll finish that comment. So we've been looking at running ads actually through my personal account, and then
okay.
building up actually more stuff around Matt Mosman
Oh, like on LinkedIn.
on
Yeah.
LinkedIn. Because what we've seen happen is I will gain followers on a 2-to-1 ratio to develop in
Hmm.
those instances.
Yep. Yep.
So that's more or less the campaign and ad evaluation that we're doing right now, is leaning into that and then focusing more on the tools and creatives that I've been working on for internal use, and a little bit on some of our automation partner packages, and making those different download packages to gain
Yeah.
that trust.
We've been slacking on LinkedIn, but 100% what I would recommend is like make yourself the face of the brand. I would like at our scale, I would only post onto your account, and every single post you just schedule a repost, assuming you're scheduling posts out in advance. And you
But
schedule the repost.
you post all
Uh-huh.
your stuff on Gimbal Automation, not you personally, right?
We shouldn't be. This is one thing too. Like as we've gotten really busy, and our short staffed, it's like, well, something's got to give, and one of those things has been our frequency of posting.
Yeah,
But
I know our frequency is just terrible right now.
But what we should be doing, and I'm not sure that this is happening, so I need to look into it. We should be posting on my personal LinkedIn, because I'm kind of the brand face, and then the Gimbal Automation page should just be reposting those. Um, so I think actually that's like the recommended course of action for a business of our scale, not just
Yeah,
something to try.
that's what we're seeing, and currently evaluating those options right now before we just start throwing dollars at it.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. We also like hired a marketing guy we're still testing out, who's doing a good job so far, who's doing like YouTube editing. Um, I'm really pushing this like close net of freelancers who we can pay hourly. We can give them a decent, consistent workload and pull that off of our in-house team.
I think that's a solid idea. Usually having engineers doing marketing anyways isn't the most cost effective.
Man, it's tough though, like, because I mean you have the industrial B2B problem of like it has to be salesy enough, like, and I mean salesy in the positive sense of the word, that like it's marketing optimized. Like a manufacturing engineer, they're a person, right? Like the same psychological things that optimize this kind of ad also can work in this industry, but at the same time, you say the wrong word, like you call a vise a clamp. You put
Yeah,
the wrong style
credibility's
of machine
gone.
in an ad. You don't have, oversight there. Yeah, just destroy your credibility, destroy your engagement, and it actually has a negative value, right? Um, it's a hard line to walk, and right now it's just been okay. We make the videos and they get reviewed, they get posted, and that's pretty cool too. Is like now I give scope, I give feedback, but I'm not really involved in like making the video. It just goes up. And that's one thing that we're working on, is rolling that out, not just for YouTube, but also for, Instagram, where maybe I'm filming the content, but I'm not editing it. I'm not writing it. I'll still be the person responding to comments and Instagram messages, just because I like having that personal touch. I'm sure at some point that won't be feasible anymore, but
Yeah,
yeah.
that happens. I don't get many messages on Instagram, so that's pretty easy.
Yeah.
I'm assuming yours is quite higher.
I mean, we just have more customers, right? And we also have I love these guys, the like guy in the garage, and they're just following along, following the journey.
Yeah,
And I've seen quite a few of those like over time. They get a new job somewhere, they turn into a buyer, or they start their own
they
shop,
do.
and um, the or even just having someone like that who is a fan or an advocate is really great.
Yeah, I had that for like the first, like I've had people come up because they've heard the pod or seen
Yep.
stuff on LinkedIn. This MD&M, I had a guy like book it. Like I saw this guy coming, like he was feelining for me. And he comes up, he's like, I've been listening to the pod for like the last like X number of days. And he's like, just like goes off how excited about it. I was like, holy crap, okay. And like had a decent conversation with him, but we didn't talk about anything business. He was more or less just like he's
Yeah.
enjoying listening about it. He's starting his own stuff. He's having
Yep.
fun with engineering, but it was like, it's kind of cool. We actually had some impact for this guy.
Yeah. It's always cool.
But engineering and R&D?
Oh, why don't you kick it off? I kind of hogged the last one.
We are testing 1701 on the floor. That's the bulk of it. Getting stuff laid out to get more projects rolling, or the one plan process, which is more company-wide updating some improvements. But that's all those changes to all our productive engineering projects will be done by it's the 31st. So end of the month is what it is. What is that? Yeah, next Friday. Everything's going to be updated. So all engineering will be then moving through one plan and for the bulk of it off of
Awesome.
Microsoft.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite huge, and its timing is perfect based on some other projects that we're kicking off. So hopefully we can get more efficient with those, and get the big thing is getting the back end data easier. Like you can pull it when it's separated, but then if you pull it, it takes longer. And then when it takes a little bit longer and there's more work into it, say Excel spreadsheet, you just question the accuracy more. So the goal is to increase that trust or increase that accuracy then too, so we can use that, because you build a handful of machines, those data points are gold for bidding in the future and for planning.
Gotcha. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, that's about it for engineering and R&D, other than going back to the CI sales or the AI sales tool. But we covered that.
Yeah. For us, engineering, we bought a Langmuir press brake, which is kind of the CNC $10,000 press brake. Everyone I've talked to has been like super pleased with them. I have to say, the product looks excellent, but man, some assembly required is an understatement. I mean, we're talking like bags of screws. If anyone from Langmuir is listening, like, man, like, put it as a separate billable of like pre-assembled or just something, because I don't expect to see like loose bearings in a bag, bags of screws.
Holy crap, pressing and bearings?
Hey, I mean, the delivered with all the stuff, it was like $11,000, and I see my guys like assembling linear rails, and like, oh my god. And look, they have the advantage of, I know it's an early product, I know what we were signing up for, I totally get it. But I just wish there was a button to click, like, pay $2,000 and their assembly guys do it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if it adds another $1,000 to shipping too, because the freight's bigger.
Absolutely. So that's one thing too of doing that. I kind of am like, how can I see through the lens of our customers more? And I'm like, okay, I think a lot of our products are really dialed. Some of our packaging on our higher end items is really dialed, but some of our mid-tier items could use some work. And I'm like, okay, how do we, all our spindle grippers have the nice little box with the foam. How do we roll that out to more products to get that premium feel? Ensure, I've never had a spindle gripper damaged in shipment, but I have had a quick flip 180 and some of these other random products that still, or our tumble blast setup.
And you can pay for a lot of packaging for one return issue on shipping.
I know. Yeah. So getting some discipline, pouring in more time. And that's where like having a little network of, outsourced engineers is working really well for us.
Nice.
These little kind of projects get scoped out in a Loom video, let them run, see what they come up with. That's been working really well. Some intraload tweaks here and there. Lots of little design improvements. I think kind of like we had such a good month in September, and it was And I realized so much of it was because we had a slow month in August where I wasn't pushing hard enough in sales and some of our marketing broke. That I pushed so hard in sales and optimizing marketing and conversion rate that I saw the potential of the business. And with that, a lot of the wind has kind of been taken out of my sales, I think in a good way, for launching bigger initiatives that are essentially like product line extension, right? And specifically, I'm talking about like the extra load external pallet loader. I'm like, maybe that's a Q3 26 or a Q4 26 thing. Like, right now, intraload, dialing these things in, and the biggest thing is just scaling the business.
Well,
That's already there.
all those changes there are just going to make the things you wait for that much faster anyways, because you're
Yeah.
not going to have the technical debt. You're not going to have the drag on the business. You're going to be that much leaner, that much faster.
Yeah, 100%. And and then you come up with an engineering project that's, let's add a Fusion embed, which was actually super quick. And that becomes an engineering project of, hey, let's make a custom SDK viewer, because Autodesk has all the tools to do this custom. But then let's collect their email address ourselves, kind of optimize with a tie in marketing and sales, taking those steps. But that's not core like product engineering. It's like sales, marketing, engineering, right?
You've reached scaling your business when you're getting excited about what you would have thought was boring
Yeah.
in the past.
But I guess with that, should we move on to continuous improvements?
Yeah. Sounds good to me. You want to go?
Sure. I mean, CI is like a lot of it's been on the website. I think like the biggest thing has been kind of a mindset shift for me, because we there's been like a little bit of movement again in terms of like our domain rankings and a couple of keywords. We're not seeing the same level of traffic outside of the newsletter inbound to our website that we were seeing in September. And
your traffic, and I was just going through ours on SE ranking. Yours has dipped down quite a bit, hasn't it, this year?
Well, that's a whole other thing of it used to be that even with very crappy ad creative, we were able to just pour money into Facebook, and it would ROI. Like it wasn't a question of whether it would ROI. We'd have 200-300% ROAS with very little effort, not updating the ad creative. It just worked, and that changed. And with that change, we had to change our approach. But you look at like the organic traffic on Ahrefs, and yet sure it had this peak where it looks like our traffic was a pretty high level. But I think I don't know if it's misattribution or what, but I know a lot of that was Facebook traffic. And when the Facebook algorithm changed, we just never could get the same level of ROAS. We changed our creative, and that led to looking like our traffic is lower, but at the same time, the actual amount of money people are spending on our website is higher at this point than it was when the traffic was a lot higher.
Yeah. I mean, traffic isn't the number to watch, so
yeah,
it's the conversions anyway. So that means you're getting in front of the right people, and your SEO is trickling in that way.
That's one thing too. I heard you say earlier about SEO. I view like whenever anyone's balancing PPC and SEO, I just think it's like a false dichotomy. You do SEO, you keep doing SEO, and you never stop doing SEO. and pay-per-click is putting pressure on the gas pedal to try to capture customers who hopefully have a larger lifetime overall customer value, right? That's the way I'm viewing it. At least in industrial B2B.
I agree that ads should be a way to add fuel to the fire, gas pedal, if you will, because that's exactly the way it should be. And then you turn it down when you need less of it. The challenge is you always need to have a minimum, and we balance. I know Develop continues to balance between either a light spend because we're trying to figure stuff out to nothing. And so it's like we never have this baseline that just like, we trickle X number of leads off of it or hit the roulette wheel. It's either on or off because it's like it's not working. And it's usually like we're getting no leads from it and stuff like that for months.
Yeah. And it all depends. Like one thing I would say, like we tried the little like lead capture stuff in Meta, complete garbage. Where it like captures their email and you're like, don't do that. Because people put in like fake emails because no one trusts Facebook.
Oh yeah.
The high bounce rate, very low overall value, compared to just doing a direct, get them onto your website, try to capture their email and information there.
Makes sense.
I mean, other CIs, I think the biggest one for me this week has just been kind of like a revelation as I've been interviewing a lot of people. Like, a lot of the stuff I hate is like another person's dream job, or at least a job they would enjoy. um, and that I need to kind of fill those spots out. Sorry?
I'm not understanding. You're saying the
So
things that
there's
are easy to hire, you're saying?
no. So, well, yeah. So there's like some stuff that I end up doing, whether it's quoting or optimization or like scouring the website looking for typos, that frankly I don't like at all. And I have always kind of not wanted to ask people to do things that I hate, right? Just because I don't know, have that that bootstrapped business owner mindset.
You feel guilty.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're saying. And then sometimes people do it and they do a way better job and they actually did enjoy it. Now I get what you're saying by this. Yes.
So like the CI for me is like, we had a bit of a dip, and, Priscilla was like, hey, I don't know if we need the administrative coordinator position here. And I'm like, oh, we absolutely still do. Because there are all these things like we need to get off of my plate and your plate so we can start focusing more on the business. And, just interviewing a couple people for that spot who'd made it through our various hiring steps, like really showed me, hey, someone actually is going to really enjoy the things that like I really don't like.
Yeah, just the details, on that stuff. That's cool. I like it.
CIs for you?
I want to get the CIs that are in our pipeline off, which is our AI sales tool. We have MRS software changes. We have like these things that are at that like couple % finish line. Team members just need hours to it. One plan also scheduled to get done next week. So it's like these next couple weeks, I just want to see these CIs just get done. It aligns with we only allow 5 in WIP for CIs. Yeah. We have 5 in WIP. There's nothing else going in, even though these are all like at the finish line. They're now down to like a couple key things that need to get done, a couple key team members just doing those. And it's like, no, I just don't even want to talk about another CI till I see those done, because they've been a little draining personally.
Yeah. I'm with you there.
So that's really it. The CI is to sweep the board before we add to the board.
Yep. Cool. Do you want to do like the accountability items?
Yeah, I was looking through. So for you, it was quotes catch up. Mine was research recurring options, and I can't remember what the hell
that meant. You say research recurring options?
Yeah. The only thing I could think of is like, actually, I can't even, like, I don't know what the challenge was there that you gave me.
Yeah, some I would go through, but it's my paper tab. My little Remarkable tablet is like really slow right now.
Okay.
So I don't know. At least for me, quote catch up, I give myself like a C. Whenever there was like hot deals, all those have been caught up on. Those kind of mid-level deals where I'm like, the complexity is a little high, the customer's a little iffy. Those I haven't been pushing as aggressively, especially with as busy as we've been. But I should have done those. And that there's maybe a little bit of a delegation problem, maybe a little bit of, the EOS speak, right person, right seat. Like I need to get out of that seat more. Like as soon as it's remotely scoped out, I love the sales part, but maybe it needs to be a 3-minute Loom video. And then I'm just checking a box and not even sending the email. Yeah, that's, so kind of a C- there for me.
Okay. That's all right. It happens. The actual accountability or proper scoring, I think, is the best part.
Yeah. What about for you this week? Do you have any things you want to be held?
I've got to execute a show and follow up. That's literally the extent of my week. It's going to be 4 days in Chicago, and then it's going to be 1 day back, getting caught back up with the team and what's happening in resource planning. I more or less just need to execute the plan of sales and marketing next week.
Yep. I mean, for us, one big thing we have in the following week, we have a lot of interviews, a lot of, we do like in person like assembly tests of like come assemble the thing for or a spindle gripper for like the what is it, the assembly position. So a lot of those tests. I mean, huge chunk of my week next week is just interviews and those. So I mean, yeah, I guess it's just practice delegation and honestly get through the interviews and
Get through. That's an
get
interesting way to
through.
put it. Can you delegate the interviews? I'm joking.
So that's one thing too. They've actually already been delegated. So like, I'm not the one who's generating the job post. Like I define the position, we create the job post. Then, as part of our hiring process, we ask for like a 30 to 60-second video. We're like a very video first technology driven company. So if you aren't willing to do that, so out of those people, then we do a pre-interview, which I don't do. And then at that point, that's when I get and go and do the actual interviews. So it is already delegated and narrowed down, but we only are really like going to the interview step once we have like 100 to 200 applicants. So the people who make it all through, I mean, it can still be 20 people, right?
Yeah.
For a single spot.
I like that number too. That's
Yep.
at least greater than 10. I've found is
Yeah.
what you want to be looking at when you're interviewing for a position.
Yeah. And it helps it put it in perspective too. And one thing that you said to me a long time ago is like when we were talking about hiring prior, it was months ago, was like you talk to someone you're interviewing and just saying, hey, I don't think this is going to work. And for like our head of engineering, we have this little assembly test. And the guy was 10 minutes in and what clearly didn't really understand like a metric versus imperial screw or like just like the mechanical aptitude wasn't there. And I was just like, yeah, I don't want to waste anybody's time. Like, let's wrap there. Like, you didn't pass the test. Sorry. Right. And being more candid, more disciplined, and really understanding and pushing for what the company needs is something I'm working on.
Yeah. That person doesn't want to go through it anyways. If they're fumbling through it and they're not that's not enjoyable anyways. Like you cut their pain short.
Yeah.
So
cool.
All right. Thanks for the time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends and family.
All right. We'll wrap there. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to Matt and I's conversation this week on the Manufacturing Automation Podcast. If you like the podcast, please share it with a friend or give us a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. We'll be back next week to continue sharing our respective journeys in life, business, and industrial automation. Thanks so much.